Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mufti Yusuf, part of the Batley One Nation team.
I'm Adil Mushtaq, part of the One Nation team, Batley.
I'm Mohammed Mullah, part of the One Nation Batley team.
So, we're going to do a bit of feedback on Afghanistan, and I think Muhammad here is going to ask me and you some of the questions that we went through.
What we experienced in Afghanistan.
Yeah, the best Adam Khan part. We'll tell him at the end though, yeah?
No,
you know that? We'll do that recently, yeah. So, Muhammad, over to you.
Alright, so let's start off with the most important question. What was the food like and the weather?
The food, as a foodie myself, you can tell obviously. The food in Afghanistan actually amazed me because as well as the Afghani food, a lot of people sometimes be a bit picky, you know, I can't eat this, I don't like that. But in Afghanistan, they've got a fair share of good variety of food. You know, for example, pizzas, burgers. Obviously, you get the Afghani cuisine, you know, the karais and the kebabs and whatnot, all the grill stuff. But it actually amazed me in a good way that there's good food places where you can enjoy and have a good meal. It requires, you know, all aspects of everyone's taste.
Would you say it was unexpected?
Yeah, definitely. Some of the stuff, like pizzas, for example, it's a Western food. You don't associate pizzas with Afghanistan, but we had a decent pizza there. You know, you would, if that pizza was in England, you wouldn't be able to tell that this is from Afghanistan and this is from England. So it was a good meal, good experience.
So all in all, when you went to Afghanistan, what stood out to you the most?
Obviously, you've got to go with the local cuisine, and the Afghanis are known for their chappal kebabs. We went to a place called Adam Khan.
In Jalalabad.
One of the well-known places there. In fact, in one day, we went there 2-3 times. We had a little bit of a sample first. We thought this is too good to be true. The next day, we went on for a full-on meal. And the day after, we just had a few more just to tickle our taste buds. But the best kebabs you can get.
Adam Khan, Chappal Kebab in Jalalabad.
Don't miss it. Make sure you get there.
That's how we did it.
In comparison to the UK, what was the environment like in Afghanistan compared to the UK environment?
So I think obviously we're in Europe, in the UK, and Afghanistan is part of South Asia, if you want to call it that, in Asia. You can't compare it. It's two different worlds. Poverty levels are phenomenally high. Although this was my, I think, third or fourth trip. I don't know, I'll let Adil speak after my 2 pence worth in that sense. But I think what my first impressions, and I'll still say this, you need to take everything out of your head in terms of what you've seen, heard, read, or people talk about in the media or anything else. And it's relatively a safe country. You know, you don't, maybe it's my mindset. I'm not saying this is everybody's mindset. You don't see tanks and people walking around with Kalashnikovs and rocket launchers, or there's shootings and bombings and all that. Yes, there is security. Like you go to Manchester Airport, you see police officers with guns and etc. Or you go to another place, security, high value assets of the UK government, and you'll have that security there. Same thing applies for Afghanistan, whether it's the airports or checkpoints or whatever it is. But generally, we were out in the bazaars, we were out in the market, we were out everywhere. There's no unrest, there's a lot of day-to-day normal life. But the thing that sticks out to me is poverty and hunger and the sheer numbers and volumes. I don't know what was it for you? What stuck out for you?
Regarding the environment, you know, obviously the points you've touched on them. We're living in Europe here. We live in a system. You know, you can do this, you can drive like this, you can't do this, you can't do that. This is against the law. In Afghanistan, it's not like that. But at the same time, not once in my whole trip, whether we went out in the evening for a night walk, during the day, 100% I felt safe. I know a lot of people see and hear a lot of things on the media, which I don't think is true. You know, I felt safe wherever I went, whether it was a bazaar and or out for a local walk or in the park or in a tourist area. Absolutely safe, no problems at all. Yes, the hunger, the poverty, the environment, the system is totally different to the western part of the world and especially Europe. But it's Afghanistan, you've got to remember that's a war torn country for the last 30 years. So the system's not in place, but to go there and see it, amazing.
So would you say it clarified a lot of things that you might have thought previously?
100%. You know, it's a country that's thriving. You know, obviously there's a lot of poverty there, and you know, you can't really comprehend that until you see it. When you see it, it hits the nail on the head. That look how the country is, the environment. Obviously, when you've had war in your country, it's going to be totally different. You know, the infrastructure of the country, the roads, the houses, the villages, the towns, you can see it all.
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is.
So other than the good work that you did in Afghanistan, what leisure activities did you do? Did you climb any mountains, fight any bears?
Well, we did a few activities. Most of the activities were eating out, but we did go to a few tourist areas and we did a little bit of mountain climbing. I wouldn't say I'm a mountain climber, as you can tell, probably out of breath in about 20 steps. But I went up a little mountain with Mufti, but I needed help coming back down.
Yeah.
Because it does get tiring. You know, the terrain's not exactly smooth and it's not all paved or pathed. So it's easy for you to
rocky.
get up and down. Very rocky terrain, but it's a good experience.
Yeah.
You enjoy it at the same time. You want to go there. You want to see it. You want to experience it. It's a good thing to do. You know, we did a few more activities where obviously we did a lot of driving and a few sightseeing places. Again, beautiful, natural beauty, amazing. What do you think?
Yeah, amazing beauty. Although it was freezing, I've been there in the winter twice now, and it was the chill factor. The wind that goes right through your bones, as they say. So it was very cold, and waking up in the middle of the night or even before Fajr and trying to use the facilities, as one would say, it's difficult. It's maybe a bit of a sacrifice because
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge that you enjoy.
Yeah.
You want to experience in life. You know, we've got all the luxuries here. You know, open the tap, you get hot water, have a shower, nice warm water, you've got a towel, no problem. There, you know, cold water, but it's an experience. It's a buzz. You want to do it, you'll enjoy it.
And it's beautiful. It's absolutely phenomenal, even though it's cold. When we went to the highest peak, I think it was in Kabul, we could see most of the whole of the city of Kabul from one of the highest peaks, where a lot of the people go for a walk, and it was a Friday, so everything's shut. Everybody goes there for a walk, and what they call Sair Tafri, or but we were there, and we could see how people were just loving it. And we were maybe one of the few tourists or foreigners, but we weren't sticking out like sore thumbs, as one would say.
You
But
felt welcome there.
yeah,
You were
very,
there.
very. They were like
Very loving people.
Very
Very,
loving,
very.
okay. They were
That's
like-
one of the things that in
Yeah.
Afghanistan that stuck out. The people are so loving and caring and respectful that, you know, you've come to their country as a visitor, as a tourist, and they welcome you with open arms. It's amazing.
So in your whole experience, how did everything make you feel in your heart?
In my heart, it's a very good question. That it made me first of all happy and appreciate the little things in life. You know, forget the clothing, forget the food that we eat. In this country, you've got everything. Touch of a button, press a button. You know, the delivery man will be there in 40 minutes, and you've got a nice hot pizza. Touch a button on Amazon, and you've got a new charger for your phone. Yeah, so you appreciate these little things. But in Afghanistan, they're humans like us. Little kids, they don't have drinking water. They don't have food to eat. They don't have clothes to wear. They don't have schools to go to. So you feel sad and humble. And they're people like us. And that's what made me very, very sad to see kids that are my kids at my age on the streets, hungry, begging sometimes. And you can see it in their eyes. That's what makes me sad. That's what made me feel sad about Afghanistan. What about yourself?
Yeah, subhanallah, it's resonating, just reminiscing what he said. But I think one of the places where we were driving, one of the, I think, I don't know if you can recollect, you just see a lady in a hijab,
Middle of the road.
middle of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look.
So she sat in the middle of the road, what essentially we would call it our motorway, their highway. It's not a massive, like 3-4 lanes, it's maybe 2 lanes. But she sat bang on in the middle.
Yeah, cars driving past her 40, 50 miles an hour.
And she might have a little child with her, she might have another child sat next to her, and she's there in full her hijab, but then with her chadara or something, asking, why would sheer desperation, you call that desperation, you call that. And I think in many places where you'd see kids the age of 4, 5, 6 cleaning shoes, picking up litter, picking up rubbish, what we count as rubbish, whether it's tin cans, plastic bottles we throw away. They're collecting all that and they're making money, maybe £1 a day, maybe 50 pence a
If
day.
that, yeah.
Yeah, maybe 50 pence a day in a whole big sack. Imagine that. They're going to make maybe £15 a month working all day collecting sacks of rubbish.
Makes you appreciate what you have here.
So this is something that we need to really enforce and talk about to our children and our things and appreciate, more than anything else. Shukr.
What do you think is needed in Afghanistan in terms of what would be beneficial to them most importantly?
After what I've seen, obviously being there, seeing it firsthand, as much donation as possible. At the moment, everything is needed in that country, from your blankets to your heaters, to food, to clothing, to educational needs, stuff like that. Everything is needed from every aspect of life.
Yeah.
Poverty is on such a level where, every little would help and everything would help. Whatever way or form someone can help, obviously by donating whatever they can afford, everything would help. Don't ever think this is too little to help. They're in need of everything in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That's from my personal experience.
So as an organization, as a charity, One Nation, alhamdulillah, we're doing a lot of work. What do you think we can do more with our donors and all our sponsors?
I think as an organization, personally, I think you should set up where more teams visit there regular. So maybe once every 4 months. So you're going there at least 3 times a year. Go with as much donation as possible in terms of cash donations. That's highly needed there as well. Obviously,
Do you think setting like goals would help?
100%, have a policy where we're going to take at least X, Y, and Z amount of cash donations, and then X, Y, and Z of heaters. Obviously, the winters are very harsh there, and the summers are harsh in the opposite way. In winter, it's extremely cold. In the summer, it's 45 degrees plus. In winters, sometimes you could get up to -10, -15, and sometimes I've heard even more. So you get both sides of the scales there. So if your team goes maybe like twice in the summer or twice in the winter, whatever's needed for winter, concentrate on that. Whatever's more needed in the summer, get that on board, and cash donations. Because obviously we can give them a water heater and we can give them a blanket or whatever, but personally, I think cash donations would go a little bit more because they vet all the people there, the most needy, the most poor, the most desperate. So obviously, when you give them a cash donation as well as other stuff, I think that will go far. Make it a habit where it's a little bit more regular.
Yeah.
What do you
What about
think?
you, Mufti
I
Sahib?
think it's my fourth visit. So I think one of the things which you've touched upon is the cash and vetting, which you've seen the vetting and process. So I think One Nation does that in a lot of countries in terms of cash donations, but I think Afghanistan is more so of a need. So I would agree with you on that in terms of cash donations, but also self-sustaining projects is very important as well. So we've looked at now rickshaws, we've looked at fruit carts, we've looked at sewing machines, we've looked at supporting individuals through setting up small businesses.
Fantastic. Everything what you've
Yeah,
mentioned.
so these things are there. I think we've already started implementing them. But one of the things I'd agree more is I think One Nation's took that step where rather than giving certain amounts of food or whether it's food parcels or food packs and such, cash donations count a lot. And I agree with Adil much more because you don't know what the individual needs are per family, per individual, per scenario. So they might need something that we haven't bought or we don't give them, and then they're going to end up maybe selling that rice or that flour because they've got enough rice or enough flour to buy, let's just say they wanted a blanket this time, or they wanted some medication, or they wanted some baby milk powder, 100 reasons.
Some
so I think
people,
it's there. I think if cash donations go a long way and they're appreciated, and it's actually the vetting process is, which I've seen in Afghanistan, is phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The vetting process is very strict, very precise, and they handpick the most needy, the most vulnerable, the most desperate. The vetting system, even I was impressed with that. And we can donate to a lot more. Once we know the systems are in place, for us donors here, you have that peace of mind that your money is going to the most needy, the most desperate, and the system in place ensures all the donations are correctly distributed.
In 5 years' time, if inshallah our charity continues our work there and develops new ways and that expands our scope of practice there, then what do you think? Where would you see Afghanistan 5 years' time?
Obviously, the country is not going to turn over in 5 years because it's a massive country, and
5 to 10 years' time in the future.
There's millions of people, but like I said, generally every little helps. So whatever we can do, as much as we can do, it'll help in any way, shape, way, or form, and we can just thrive on it. Try to make a habit where we're not going once a while, we're going regular. We have a time scale and we have goals to set. Right, this year, for example, we're making 50 homes, 50 wells, or 50 sewing machines, 50 rickshaws. So it'll help in that locality, in that area, in areas where it's very rural, up in the mountains, away from the cities, no shape of work or form as much as you get in cities where people can self-sustain by these things. So obviously if you go 2-3 times a year, times that by 5 years like you said, or 10 years like you said, it'll make a big difference. It'll make a big difference to someone's life. It'll change. You've got to remember, if you're helping someone who's 10-12 years old, in 10 years time that person's going to be an adult. He'll probably have his kids. So you're not just helping him, you're helping his kids. You're helping a generation. Once they're self-sustained, they've got a little business or they've got something running for them, it's for their kids, it's for the future. So
you're helping the present impacts the future.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. What about you? 5 years, 10 years.
5 years time, I think Afghanistan will be a force to be reckoned with. The way it's growing, the way it's people have that thirst for stability, security, education, and wanting to move beyond the wars that they have had for decades. So I think let's hope and make loads of prayers that it stays that
You
way.
see that there in their eyes. They've lived 30 years in that climate of war. They want to get out of it. You live in a week here in a hospital. You want to get out. You live here for a few days in an uncomfortable environment. You want to get out. You want to move on. They want to put all that behind them. But obviously, they need our help,
Like, get back
our
onto their
support.
feet.
Yeah.
Get back to normality. They've been in that position. Some kids, they're born in that position. They don't know any better. So with donors and with One Nation, we can get there and give them that little bit of a help, give them that little bit of a stepping stone where the rest of their life or the future years of their life is a bit more better and a bit more comfortable for them. A few case studies there where we talked to some individual people. I mean, myself, I spoke to one widow where her husband died 5-6 years ago. She's got, I think she had 3 kids, and the kids are 6 years and below. So you're thinking to yourself, look, how is she gonna support herself? And the only answer to that is she has to go out and ask or beg. So for that reason, obviously, if you have a system where every 3 or 4 months we can donate £100 or to that, Pacific family, it helps in that way. So, and because it's a war-torn country, there's hundreds and thousands of orphans and widows. This is what we don't understand. A lot of people are, women without husbands, without brothers. They've got no breadwinner in the house. They've passed away, shaheed, in war. So they need our help. That's what sticks out a lot. A lot of, you get orphans everywhere. It happens. But a country that has been in war for 30 odd years, it's going to be a lot more.
I think that's why we, alhamdulillah, I say alhamdulillah, we as One Nation support hundreds, if not thousands, and we have done over the last 10 years, of orphans and widows. And Afghanistan is not something new for us. Alhamdulillah, we have got that orphan and sponsorships for widows, and we do have that, alhamdulillah. So there are that is in place. But like Adil said, there's so many. There is so many orphans and widows. It's unbelievable. So we just doing. I think the appeal would be, or the plea would be, call to action: get more sign-ups for orphans and widows. Really, more than anything else.
I think when you go there and help an individual, you get joy and you feel happiness. But when you help an orphan or a widow, the satisfaction levels are a lot higher. Because you know what that kid, what that woman's gone through, what they've been through in life.
Personal to you.
Yeah, and the satisfaction and the joy you get, it's on a different level. It makes you happy. Obviously, you're saddened by the fact that this has happened to them. But when you donate to them and you see that smile on their face, you see that happiness, you see that love, you see that care, it gives your heart peace. And that was very satisfying for me.
In terms of other deployments, have you been on any other deployments, brother?
This was my first deployment.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward for more.
Inshallah.
I've told Mufti Sam, whenever there's any place that needs filled, I'm here.
Trying to be Mr. Worldwide like Mufti Sam.
No, look, like I said, every little helps.
Yeah.
You go there, even if you took some sweets, I took some sweets, you give a smile. Going there and seeing one kid smile, that's enough. That's your trip's worthwhile.
We took a sackful, didn't we?
Yeah. But alhamdulillah, with One Nation, we're helping hundreds, if not thousands. So it's very fulfilling and heartwarming.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
And in terms of when going for Mufti Sahib, since you've been on other deployments, compared to other deployments, how was Afghanistan?
Phenomenal. That's one word I'd say. Amazing. I say it in the sense of diversity, complexity, cuisine, people. I won't say that I'm not trying to belittle anybody or any country, but far beyond my expectations and far beyond what I have maybe been, what the projection or perception of people is and what I witness. So that's why I use the word phenomenal.
In one word, how can you describe Afghanistan? Both, yeah.
I think that's, personally, if you ask me that, I think that's probably the hardest question you've asked. One word. It depends the way you look at it. Amazing, I can describe it as amazing. Beautiful, very scenic, I can describe it as that. Desperate, I can describe it as that. Phenomenal, I can describe it as that. Wow. It depends the way you look at that question. One word, I'd say
All of the above.
it's an experience.
Yeah, it is. It is,
Yeah.
and I think something that everybody should do.
And any one word that you put in, it fits in with Afghanistan. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, loving. Just for example, if you take that, the people there are so welcoming with open hearts.
They don't have nothing.
They don't have nothing, but they're
they'll
willing
give
to give everything. Look,
that is
both
something.
words came out
Yeah,
at the same
it
time.
is.
They don't have nothing, but they're willing to give everything. Whereas in the West, we have everything, we're willing to give nothing. It just shows you their aspect of looking at life. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That was just random, us choosing the same words that time. But I think that is reality, though. We've experienced that.
It shows the truth
Yeah.
and reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coming up, is there any other deployments coming up?
I think we don't have any planned, myself and Adil, but inshallah we're planning one together. We loved it so much, so we will. We've got a whole team in Dewsbury and Batley area now wanting to travel with us because we've known each other for the last 30 plus years.
In fact, personally myself, I'm looking forward to the next one. Go there, whether it's in Afghanistan or whether it's in a different country, you see, you hear, you experience, you feel, you want, you need these things in your life. It brings you back down to earth as a person as well. How lucky and how fortunate we are living here and having everything at our fingertips. When you go to these places, these poor countries, you see the harsh reality of life.
What emotions does it take you through?
You have a roller coaster of emotions, from sad, happiness, scared, shocking. It's a roller coaster of emotions. You can't describe one place at one time because it's a little bit of everything. It takes you to your heart. That's why I'm amazed at it. That's why I love it. That's why I want to go back. That's why I feel I need to go back. So,
yeah.
What do you think?
I am going back, inshallah.
Inshallah, yeah.
We're going back in the summer.
Inshallah, yeah. We want to feel the heat this time,
We'll do that, inshallah.